Yo, what is up guys? Today we are going to make a whole song using only Serum 2. I know it sounds almost kind of clickbaity, but it'll be almost like a mini masterclass. We'll probably dive deep into every element of a drop and an intro, because we'll try to make every single element from Serum 2. Yeah, let's get right into it. Presets I've made so far for you guys. Kick. So for a kick, you're gonna want some type of like sine wavy shape. And I'm gonna try to stick to mainly Serum 2, or at least emphasize the new Serum 2 features. So I'm gonna use a different analog wavetable. Try to find something that's kind of sine wavy. Oh, look at that. That's actually perfect. So we could shape it. If we do something like this. Because a kick is basically going to be a sine wave pitching down, layered with some white noise, a transient, and maybe some type of like mid-range layer. So what I'm going to do is get the backbone of it down, which is that sine wave pitching down. So I'm going to shape the volume with the envelope. And then we can do, actually let's just use the envelopes. Let's use envelope 2 and we'll put it on the coarse pitch. Yeah, and then just find a sweet spot, that pitch bend. Or actually, I'm gonna use an LFO for the pitch bend, kind of get more surgical with it, I feel like. This on envelope mode. Okay, cool. Let's get this LFO on the drive and the cutoff. Let's do a tighter low pass. Okay, it's like a little too lasery, so yeah, let's tighten that up. And then let's bring the hold down. Almost. Okay, I saw one of the Serum presets, I think they used pulse with, yeah, to kind of give it a click. Sounds pretty nice. Might make a new envelope for the pitch. There we go. That's how I want it to sound. Turn up the fat. Oh no. Could make a macro for the fat. Just call it. Probably add some other stuff to it. And the effects, let's go ahead and add just a compressor. So I think the single mode will, yeah, will help tame it a little bit. Do kind of slow attack, fast release. We have the sub layer. Now what we can do is we can make a like hi-hat layer or noise layer. So we could use the sample oscillator and pick one of these drum hats or maybe a shaker. Nice. That actually sounds pretty good just right out the box. that sounds good. Might be able to leave it there. Let's do some distortion. Yeah, let's maybe let's try to distort the mids, get that like wood knock area. Sounds pretty nice. Okay, EQ. Let's put the shape on the gain. Let's put it before the compressor. Yeah, it sounds nice. Let's put this envelope also on the gain of the high end. Looks pretty good. Okay, so the only rule outside of Serum 2 is I'm gonna use some basic stuff just to like get visuals and maybe do some basic EQing. But even that, I kind of want to just use the EQ within Serum and try to do everything in Serum 2, just as like a creative challenge. But once in a while, I'm gonna use like simple EQs and spectrum analyzers. So it actually looks pretty nice. Let's think, what else can we do here? Gotta give it a little bit more of a transient. So let's go to the noise oscillator. Kick attacks. Yeah, let's maybe do one of these. It's kind of nice. Okay. Let's send this shaker to filter 2, and then let's make filter 2 a high pass. Just clean things up a little bit. And we can put this LFO on the drive, maybe. It's decent. And then let's send the noise to the high pass as well. Yeah, there we go. That's a nice little transient. It's maybe a little too aggressive. Let's put envelope 1 on it. Okay, cool. Let's just stick with that. Move forward. I might have to start freezing stuff because it can eat up a lot of CPU for sure. I had to update my computer. I got Live 12 and Serum 2 all in one, so lots of new videos coming soon. Felt like this was a good one to start with. Okay, let's make a clap. So we can just take white noise and an EQ, and we're gonna want to draw an LFO like this. There we go. So we're gonna wanna have a few peaks and then a tail. Be pretty random with it. We're gonna put this on free mode. We're gonna apply that LFO to the level of the noise and the level of the gain on this peak. And we're gonna wanna put the peak around 1K. Put this on envelope mode. So you can hear like the backbone of a clap there. We're gonna wanna really boost. Find the sweet spot there. Sounds pretty nice. Let's try a different noise. I like these. I'm not sure exactly the difference between these and the other ones, but these are the new ones and it sounds nice. I like the stereo effect you can do. Like that sounds great. Okay, cool. Let's do the smooth knob a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, effects. Let's do some distortion. Okay, we could do multiple distortions. So let's do tube and then let's do downsample. Yeah, I like that redux effect on the clap. And then let's just boost we could boost the whole signal. Do something like that. Okay, let's do some reverb. We'll do the convolution reverb. It's a new one they got. Let's do short, do hyper 2. Okay, that one sounds good. I think it's a little too long though. There we go. And then OTT, multiband. Ooh, that's actually a pretty nice clap. Let's do a filter at the end. I'm just gonna do a low pass, opened all the way up, and we'll put a little bit on the drive, just to bring up the volume of everything. Boom. Okay, and then let's do one more EQ, and we're gonna do a low cut. So we gotta get rid of any low end. Bring the drive down a little. Sounds pretty good. Let's do another compressor, just to tame it a little bit. Do long attack, medium release. The reason I do a longer attack is to let the transient of our clap go through. There you go, that sounds pretty good. Let's do a little less reverb. Okay, let's check it out on an EQ. Yeah, it looks good. Good clap. Alright, let's hear. Alright, cool. Just get a basic kick clap pattern. Nice. Okay, this is a little too much like high end. Okay, it's that noise oscillator, so let's just turn it down a little bit. Okay, cool. Alright, now let's get like a shaker loop or something. I'm excited to do this because I was messing around earlier and looking at some presets and trying to make some my own, and I saw this really cool way to make shakers or like realistic perc loops. So let's do, and we're gonna use the granular mode here. So we're gonna use oscillator A, granular, and then let's pick, just try to find some type of like textury sample. So we could go with the noises or organic. So let's try a paper bag. Okay, so let's put this on forward, reverse loop, and let's just find a little spot and make a really tight loop. Something kind of like that. Then just mess around with the granular settings. We'll put an LFO on the level here. This now kind of sounds like a shaker, right? We could add a couple extra points. And then go to one of these free LFOs. So we'll do path, and I'm just gonna draw a weird shape. Illuminati, bro. Let's do that. So we're gonna apply that to a bunch of random points on here. So we kind of get this natural flow with it, which is cool. Let's do filter 1 as a high pass, boost all this. Okay, we could layer that with some noise. Okay, let's go to the effects and let's do a filter. Let's try like a reverb filter or a comb filter. Something with a lot of peaks. Okay, do some distortion. There we go. Okay, let's do one of the regular, or one of the new noises. Ooh, that one sounds so good. There we go. Kind of cool. Don't underestimate the power of just EQing stuff. What the hell? This is crazy. Whoa. There we go. Tighten that up just a little bit. That's pretty cool. Then we could just automate the rate. Okay, and then, oh, I'm pretty sure we could swing LFOs now. How do you do that? Swing. Maybe that's for the MIDI. It's not for the LFO. I don't know. I don't know. Alright, it sounds decent. Okay, let's make one more drum element. Or no, we'll move on. I don't want this to be a super long video. I want it to be somewhat in depth though. Kick, clap, hat. There's the basic way to synthesize those. There's a million ways to skin a cat with everything in producing, especially sound design. So these are just some techniques that I've been using, or that I thought of as I was doing it. Alright, let's get some freaking dubstep basses going, dude. Let's take sidechain from the kick and the snare. whoops. Wrong serum. It looks so tiny. Whoa, hold on. Ah, okay. I've been a big fan of these like rhythmy basses. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find some cool basic shapes, squares and sine waves. Low tone, high tone, distortion, or low tone, high tone, filter, distortion. Those three things. That's how we get a cool bass sound. So I'm gonna use this guy as my low tone. Let's just let it ride through. Sometimes it sounds cool to just have the low end cranking through the distortion with your high tone kind of wobbling on top. So let's go to analog and let's find something that's like square wavy. I think one said saw square. No. One kind of like a smooth square. I'm gonna put it up 3 and 7. And we're gonna put a little triplet guy or dotted guy on there. Let's do something like that. Then let's put an LFO on the wavetable. So it's kind of evolving. Okay, we're gonna send both these to filter 1. We're gonna do a hard low pass, and let's take this LFO. We're gonna put that guy on the cutoff, the drive, and the res. Pretty good. And then if we distort this together, it should sound pretty sick. We'll see though. Yeah, we're getting there. There we go. That's pretty cool. Kind of basic sounding. Let's do an LFO on the noise. And again, we're gonna go to good old white noise with the stereo. Okay, let's do the overdrive. This is the new one of the new distortions. Ah. I like it. And then let's maybe do a filter before. Okay, tonal delay, make it rid of me. Okay, that's sick. Okay, nice. I like how this is, could use this as some type of like lead bass for the pre-drop. Like do some bump up, something the crowd would sing right before the wubs. Could maybe try something like that, we'll see. Pretty cool. Alright, OTT, and obviously we're gonna do multiple, because we could do multiple now. Let's do 3. Classic 3 OTTs. A bunch of gain on the last one. Let's give it an attack. I don't know, doing that just helps get rid of that like nasty transient. When you're doing this like crazy compression and distortion, it gets messy at the beginning. I notice if you just do this really long attack, kind of cleans it up. which I think is basically just turning down the inputs a bunch, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I don't know, whatever it is, it works, so. That's actually really sick. Oh! Okay. Alright, let's get a little yoink going right there. Womp. Alright, I'm gonna save this too. I'll give you guys a bunch of Serum 2 presets soon. What is this gonna be called? Dolphin. Okay, how can we make this a whoop? Alright, like a womp. Bandpass, right? Any new bandpasses? Bandpass filter. Oh. Okay, yeah, let's just do this on envelope mode. Nice. Oh, whoopsies. Alright, let's hear it in context. Let's loop this baby. Maybe put an alpha on the frequency. Ooh! Okay, let's put a chaos LFO on the pan. Why not? Because why not? Of the noise. Oh, that sound is so sick. Hold on, we need to... That's kind of sick. It's kind of like trappy sounding. Some like Mystic type shit. Shout out Mystic. Okay, that's pretty cool. Alright, let's keep it going. Serum 2. Let's make a variation of this one. I think we probably want to keep similar arrangement. We might want to repeat that. So maybe right here on the snare. Let's try to make some type of transition effect. Serum 2. So let's go with, do some type of like sine wavy thing. Yeah. Just gonna do a half bar envelope because I just want it to be a half bar kind of one shot. I'm thinking like a lasery down sweep thing. So the way we would make that is, like I said, put this on envelope mode. We'll make it a half bar. Put this on the level. So there's our shape. Put this also on the coarse pitch. And then we could also put it on a resonant filter. I think this way? Something like that? I don't know which direction is the right way. Yeah, like if you wanted a laser, it would be like that. Could pretty much do that on any sound. Let's put it on the wavetable too. Cool, I like that. Nice. Alright, we're gonna put some chorus on that and OTT. And an EQ. Maybe put some type of dub delay on it. Or I don't know, just delay. I don't know if it's technically... I think dub delay is where you just do 2 delays, one after another, right? So we could do that like this. I don't like that. There we go. Okay, and then I think over here, so I think we need to just do this. Oh no. Thinking like, so let's just make a bunch of little one shots. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's get rid of those. Ooh. Put the alpha on there. Ooh. Two. No. Okay, we're losing it a little. Okay, let's loop it. No one. Ooh. Oh, that's pretty sick. Yeah. Let's do some it's like long bass right here. Some like blown out sub type shit. Like this. Something like that. Ooh. That's sick. Okay, fill tip. Treat your fills like build-ups. Makes them very way more better. Okay, what do we want for the fill? Let's get creative. Let's just have fun. I'm gonna try to do some type of synth sound, maybe. Serum 2. So let's do some type of like lead. So I think we want to do the root and the fifth. So 7 semitones up is always a good place to start. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I want it to be like this. Okay, so we could turn this into like a cool kind of lead sound. Let's do like an opening filter. I think if we distort that together, again, distortion. Okay, this needs so sub down 3. There we go. There we go. Let's get a really fast LFO in the fine pitch. All made by Serum so far. So let's keep going. Let's flesh out a whole drop and then we'll make an intro for it. Sick. So these will be basses. Oh, there's a couple effects in there. We'll fix that. I think this is the effects. Yeah. I always end up putting everything in the same groups in the same order, but for some reason I just like keeping my starting project as blank as possible. I don't know, it just helps me like stay creative, I guess, or not like start every song the same, even though I end up grouping everything the same. When I start with a really blank project with barely any channels, barely any color, I can kind of start super fresh every time. Let's get rid of that for now. Okay, I'm gonna arrange this just to get a full 16 bar drop real quick before we go back into a bunch of sound design. So I think I want this to just simply change into like quarter notes. Maybe change the timbre of it a bit. Okay, and then let's do some new fills. So I think I want this to be just back to a quarter note kind of vibe. Yeah. Maybe that for each one, let's see. Bum, 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 bum. And then so I think triplets right there. Yeah. Yeah, I think we gotta go back to that. This part is so fire. That's sick. Alright, I think we can make this lead better. Let's make it a little more intense. Do some octaves. Maybe that. Alright, and then let's put some reverb on it, and let's automate the dry wet. Am I not able to do that in Ableton? What's going on here? Wonder why that's happening. If I set it up to a macro, it'll probably work all of a sudden, right? Yeah. Should be able to do it directly in there. The old Serum let you. That is so fire. Okay, let's start making more sounds. Let's do a sub, and I'm gonna save all these presets plus make a bunch of other ones for you guys. So with this video, there will also probably be a Serum 2 preset pack, at least a small one to get you guys started. And just so you know, if you have Serum, you can upgrade to Serum 2 for free. Okay, let's make a clean Serum 2 sub. So I'm thinking, let's cut out the low end on the entire bass group. And then let this be the sub. What color? Let's make it pink. Okay, clean sub. Let's go to analog. Just need to find like a square wave. That's nice. We could square it out a little bit more. Either, I think we could do bend plus, right? Kind of. Let's see, we could do more than one warp mode. Oh, we could actually distort the waveform, which is cool. So look at that. That basically, if you just crush it into distortion, it basically turns it to a square wave. So let's just flatten that out a little bit. Bring the random down. We're gonna do a low 24 and just get those the low fundamental and then a couple harmonics. Something like that. Gonna make a nice and tight LFO, nice and clean. Put mono on always, porta. And then let's see, what rate are we playing this at? This is some type of dotted, I think. Yeah, 8th dotted. So let's match that, see what it sounds like. Let's check the level. So obviously it can be way louder. Put a little bit on the drive. Just get it right below 0. Let's open the cutoff a little. And then let's put that really nice white noise on it. Ooh, with a little bit of stereo. Let's put this to filter 2 and make filter 2 a high pass. High 24. The LFO on the drive. Put it on the level as well. Okay, it sounds pretty good. Let's distort it all together now. Because when you distort low end with noise, you could sometimes get a really nice crunch out of it. Yeah, you could kind of hear it there. Yeah, let's just do a super aggressive sub. Trying to control the level of the low end, and then we'll use this one to cut some of those mids. Let's do another EQ. This maybe isn't the best idea. I think a bunch of EQing might mess up the phase, but who cares? We're having fun, right? Just want an aggressive sub. Let's EQ this. This has like a flabby low mid going on. Yeah, that's nasty. Let's just get rid of it. Nice. Okay. So we need like a similar LFO. Maybe we just do a long one. So I'm gonna duplicate this guy. We'll do something like this. Change this to half. We'll do envelope. Automate the LFO and do quarter note here. Ah, so close. Oh no. Maybe just put this in the subgroup and let it have its own sub. I'm gonna boost the low end. Might be kind of lazy there with that. I don't know. Am I being lazy? That part is so good. Okay, let's do one more effect, and we'll do just like a big riser or something, and then we'll start doing an intro. Okay, Serum 2, let's do digital. Let's see, Renegade. cool. Okay, riser. So we can shape the rising up motion with a long LFO. So we'll do this one. Let's do envelope. Let's make this a 4-bar riser. Or let's do 8 instead, and then we'll do noise. Again, let's do one of these. Let's maybe do pink this time. Okay, and then we probably want to do some type of filter with like a peak sweeping through with that same LFO. Oh god, that's so loud. Let's compress that. Okay, and then we could put a really fast LFO on the master tune. So if we do LFO 2 on the global main tuning, do 1 semitone, go really fast. Okay, and then we'll also put this rising LFO on the coarse pitch of this sine wave. Do something like this. Let's put this LFO on the pan. Let's also put it on the cutoff here, just a little bit. Maybe add voices. Let's make it go through the wavetable as well. Alright, that sounds nice. EQ it. Nice. Okay, let's put some stereo on this though. I'm pretty sure that's mono. So we can do, let's do the convolve, reverb, coloration, interesting, suitcase piano, interesting. We can just keep that. Just a riser. Okay, let's make one more hat layer, maybe 2 more, but I want to do like half note crashes. So we can just duplicate this and let's get rid of this LFO automation. Let's change this to half. Let's open it up a little more. Okay, that kind of works. Let's find a different part of the sample. Maybe a different sample. Let's do down sample maybe. Ooh, I kind of like that. Put some hyper on it. Maybe a flanger. There we go. Sick. Let's get an intro going. So let's take these risers, basically use one for each section, and then I'm excited to do this. We're gonna make some cool like synth sounds. We're gonna make just like a random intro. I know I'm always taking like the bass line from the drop and using it in the intro, but there's no rules. So we're just gonna write something random in the key of D minor and make some cool synthy type of sounds with Serum 2. Surprised my CPU hasn't started pooping on me. Let's do some hype, like, or maybe not hype. Let's just try to make some, let's get chords first and then we'll worry about a sound. I'm feeling like epic, upbeat, electronic vibes. Let's just go with one for now. Open that boy up. I think it would be this. Ooh, that kind of goes hard. Alright, I think I like that for our first 4 bars. We'll make like a slightly different B section, but let's go ahead and build chords here. So let's do D minor. Sometimes Lydian is really cool, or Mixolydian, or harmonic minor. I think we're just gonna do regular minor right now. Let's see what that sounds like. Maybe do power chords too. Yeah, power chords all day. So power chords are taking the root and the fifth. So a triad is made up of the root, the third, and the fifth. So it's the root note, and then the third note up within the scale, and then the fifth note up within the scale. See? So if we start at D, well here, let's do it with A, because it's not inverted yet. So we go root note, one note in the scale, which is 2. So 1, 2, third note in the scale, 4, fifth note in the scale, up from the root. And then we're going to get rid of that third one, and we're just going to go with the root and the fifth. And I'm going to duplicate that an octave above. Okay, and then I'm gonna do just a slightly different final chord on the second 4 bars. This is a great way to go from beginner to pro, in my opinion. So get a good 4-bar chord progression, but let it evolve, and you can make this last chord different. It's a great place to start. So maybe instead of going up, we go down. I think I wanted to go up more. I think that works. It's maybe jumps a little too much. Let's try inverting some of it. I like it, but trying to go for that like uplifting, energetic vibe. let's just go up an octave. That sounds nice. Maybe that. Yeah, I think that works. Synth, what color? Let's do orange. So let's make a cool synthy sound here. Find a nice analog wavetable. I think I want like slightly plucky super saw vibes going on here. So we'll shape it with the envelope. Go with 7 voices. And so we could easily change the settings here of the unison, which is another cool Serum 2 setting. So I'm going to change this from linear to super. And now you'll see the voices. They look a little different. They're a little more cluttered towards the center. So the detuning just works a little bit different. Just use your ears. There's no like special meaning for any of them for the most part. Like, I mean, this one's called super because I'm assuming it sounds good on super saws. So that's why I'm using it. But other than that, just use your ear and don't be afraid to change and mess around with those. Let's do 9. Okay, and then envelope 2, we will put on the cutoff. Then envelope 1 on the drive, maybe? Get our hat loop in here. First one. Okay, let's do a second oscillator. Let's do default shapes. Just do like a clean... Yeah, something like that. Just add like a high tone. Just turn the volume down. We'll add some noise. Nice. There we go. Give it a little bit of attack. Okay, effects. Let's do bowed so we could get that like phasey effect. Not sure how to... There we go. Maybe keep the sustain. It's a little distorted, huh? Let's turn everything down. Yeah, let's maybe just make that a macro. There we go, much better. Yeah, and then warble. And then we could turn this up. Yeah, and automate that. I think right here would be a really cool spot. And then for the build-up, you just hold probably this chord, I imagine. And we turn it into a riser by doing a pitch bend. Let's do plus 24, make it real intense. Nice. Okay, this sounds great. I like this sound. Let's mix it a little more, get a little bit, maybe some delay and a little bit of reverb. Let's do the vintage reverb. And then let's do a little bit of OTT on the end of this. Why not, right? Okay, let's just turn this into quarter notes here the whole time. Boom. Alright, cool. Let's keep working on the intro. Okay, we can layer this with another synth sound, Juno 106. Let's try to make like a pad that fades in. So a good thing with layering, for example, with this sound, we have a sound that like is somewhat plucky, right? Like the sound is loud and then fades away. So let's layer it with a sound that starts quiet and fades in and has like a slow attack. So we're gonna pay attention to that. And then we can also pay attention to the frequency spectrum. So where is this synth mainly sitting? And I would say like mids. That's the main important stuff here. So maybe we can make a pad that's a little bit higher pitched. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shift this all up an octave to start. We're gonna turn it down as well. And then I'm just gonna shape it first before really doing anything. We'll give it that slow attack like this. So then together, they mix really nicely together. And then let's look at this on an EQ. The frequencies are a little bit higher up, which is good. And let's maybe roll off the high end on this main layer. Just to give this one a little bit more room. Cool. So I'm gonna give this 16 voices. Let's bump it up even another octave. Yeah, I like that. Let's do some noise, and then I'm gonna do a chaos LFO on this, just to do random noise. Randomization is great for like noise. I like doing it on panning, sometimes filter movement. It's great to put on, so here's a good example. We could put LFO 2 on the main tuning, and we'll do like one semitone. So this detunes it a little bit, right? And it's obviously sounds kind of bad. But if we just mix in a little bit of it, what it does is it makes our sound a little bit more analog, because analog synths tend to be a little bit irregular. So the pitch will sometimes move around a little bit. That tends to sound good. Like imperfection is good sometimes. It's not always a bad thing. So it's fun to put like a random LFO on the main tuning and just mix a little bit in, just to make it a little more complex and natural. As you can see, I also have it on the noise. Let's do some filtering. Let's do maybe a flanger. Let's do key tracking. And let's put the random LFO on the resonance just a little bit. Sounds pretty nice. I think I want to do something granular here. So let's do the granular one, and we will pick an analog table. Let's go into these. These are all new. Oh, let's do like a string, something. Let's do forward reverse loop. Pretty cool. Let's put a random LFO on the offset. Okay, how's that sound with the wavetable? Nice. And then just for fun, what if we do another wavetable just to add like a nice little like bell type at the beginning. So for that, we would probably want to go to digital. There might be something that says belladonna. Let's hear that by itself. We could distort this. Sometimes that helps. Okay, CPU is having a hard time, I think. So I'm going to freeze a bunch of stuff. Let's freeze all the basses. Okay, and we'll freeze the drums for now too. Let's go to filter 2 with this. High pass. And then let's set up a bus. So we could do buses in Serum now, which is basically just like, imagine it as an extra channel. Well, it is an extra channel you could send certain things to add effects to it. So I'm gonna put a reverb on one of the buses, and I'm gonna send this wavetable to that bus. I'm gonna put the mix all the way up, and then we're also gonna put OTT after to really bring it out. I want this to be a little bit more like plucky. If we only had one more oscillator. I guess we do. There we go. Okay, there we go. Let's do something nice and simple like that. Okay, eating up CPU. I have to start freezing everything. Like once you start using those chaos LFOs and the granular and more than 3 oscillators, kind of start cooking the CPU. Okay, and then let's have kicks on like following the chords. So one thing as well that I think can help you go from beginner to more professional, making sure all your elements are communicating with each other and making sense. So I'm gonna have my kick hit on every offbeat chord. Like that. So you see how the kick pattern is now following the pattern of our chords. Okay, let's freeze this track. Alright, probably do some type of vocal now. Thinking like a cool vocal chop, which we can do now because we can do sample mode, which is really cool. So let's see here. I'm just gonna find a vocal loop in D minor. Actually, let's use splice. I never do that. I got splice right now, so let's do that. Yeah, let's do this one. This might be the only exception, because I guess this technically doesn't come with the synth, but just find a vocal in your library and drag it in. And let's see what we can do here. I'm thinking we could like just kind of stutter this vocal as a call and then do some type of cheeky arp or pluck as a response and make another sound for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and place a MIDI note on C3. So 123 BPM. I don't know, does this follow the... Yeah, I'm not sure if it follows the BPM of the project. That's cool, yeah. What key is that? D sharp. I think it's got a... Yeah, what is this in? It's in, I believe, F sharp minor. What does it say? What's the vocal key? I think it was F. Why can't I see the whole show sample in Finder? There we go. F sharp minor. Yes, I was right. So we want it to go down 4 semitones. Yeah, so I think we can... Let's find one that's in C. Or Or no, I feel like I just want to trigger like a little word or phrase over and over again. There we go. There we go. So then let's put some just super cool effects on this. So I really like distorting vocals. So let's try overdrive maybe. We could do a filter as well to kind of tame that high end. And then let's do some delay. Ping pong. Okay, and then we'll do a little bit of reverb. Oh, no, let's do a little phaser too, who cares? Then we'll do a little bit of reverb. And OTT at the end. I'm trying to think of something interesting we could do. Oh, we could... I was thinking we could layer it with a synth, but I think it would be out of key because we're kind of doing some wacky, kind of jumping over some hoops to make this in key right now. It might be out of key too. I'm not 100% sure. It sounds good to me. Oh, where were we? Ending on D. I think it sounds good. I feel like it's gonna be one of those things I listen to tomorrow and be like, ah, it's out of key. Some noise. Let's do a bunch of distortion. Okay, I just got an idea. What if on the fill we put this guy? And we're gonna do it, or no, let's do this within Serum 2. So we're gonna create a washout effect. So I'm gonna do a bunch of the reverb, but I'm also going to create an EQ with a low cut, but we're just gonna have this automate upwards during this section, so we don't have any low end. Nice. That's actually pretty sick. Maybe bring it down an octave. Sorry, I sometimes listen to stuff over and over again. I tend to do that. Freeze track, really eating up the CPU here. Alright, let's do some ARP stuff, because I know in this thing. So let's initialize. Simple ARP sound, so let's just turn this into a pluck. So we're going to do a second LFO on the cutoff. Ooh, something nice like that. A little bit on the resonance. The envelope on the drive, envelope 1 on the drive. Let's get something nice like that. Then you could add voices if you want. Kind of feel like I want this to be in the center because it's going to be a response to the vocal. So I kind of want it to be one of the main melodic elements of the intro, something that the crowd will, like, I guess, sing along to. So we could just go with that. Let's try a different shape maybe. I like the square. Let's do some noise. Let's try something else here. Let's do second wavetable, octave up. And then let's do a chaos LFO on the pan of the noise. Let's also put it on the fine pitch just a little bit. Just to introduce that randomness and that imperfection, because I think that's important with these kinds of sounds. Okay, cool. And then let's just do some like chorus, a little bit of reverb, and OTT. Okay, now we're gonna go to the ARP down here, and let's go with, let's see, how does this thing even work? Turn it on. You could select different ones. So we're gonna go with, let's do 16. Let's put everything up an octave. Maybe we do want voices. Two OTTs? Alright, I think I need some distortion at the beginning. Okay, it needs a fat 808. So let's make one. We're gonna take the subnotes of the chords, and the root of that is actually D. It's inverted, so something like this. And this is gonna sound nice probably right away because we have the kicks following it already. So I'm gonna solo this with the drums, just so we can basically hear our 808 pattern with the drums. Serum 2, analog, let's do Juno. Let's distort it, kind of square it out a little. Okay, all right, let's do a nice and aggressive low cut. Envelope on the drive. Let's do a second shape just to add a little bit of depth to it, to the cutoff. And then we'll do a third LFO on the coarse pitch. That's how you get that downward. Pretty nice. Okay, I kind of like the 808. I don't think it's the vibe right now. It could be good for like a second intro. So I'm gonna put that over here, but I'm gonna duplicate this. I think I want like a distorted saw kind of thing going. Like I made one, let me show you one. See how it sounds. Legato Dirt, this one. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna extend this and do the same pitch bend. So all this sound is a sub with a saw, a few octaves up. Low pass filter opening, distortion, splitter with stereo stuff on the mids and highs. Just some basic shaping, the EQ. Okay, let's go up 24. We'll follow this chord shape on the pitch bend. So we're gonna go up like this. Okay, let's start the intro with these. Start with the hats too. And then let's do the vocal too. Let's do it with a bunch of reverb. Maybe cut out the do a cheeky build up the vocal. Nice, that honestly will probably sound pretty sick. Let's do the pitch bend on it. Alright, let's maybe just use this as the vocal, because I really want to try to not use anything but Serum. Whoops. So let's duplicate all that, but let's get rid of this. Yeah, it's a nice like second section. And then duplicate the second drop, or the first drop, over to the second drop. Then we'll create an outro. So this is a good tip for finishing ideas. A lot of times when I'm getting close like this, where I have like most of the intro, most of the drop, I'll start arranging the whole track. And personally, I just feel like it makes me finish tracks. Now that I have the whole thing laid out, I know I can just kind of make some subtle adjustments, change transitions, make variation in the second drop, and then we're done. So yeah, just arrange it out once you have it close to where you want it. Okay, let's do a like classic reverb in and filter this in. So I'm going to add a EQ at the end of all this. I'm gonna add a macro here. We'll just filter it in. Okay, we're gonna do one for the reverb as well. And claps. And then I think I want the rhythm on this to be different. Because I think the dotted might sound a little awkward with the claps, because the claps are just like quarter and eighth notes. So let's just change it to eighth maybe. Turn that off. Let's put a kick on the one, and then let's do less side chain as the build goes on. Let's do a fill with our kick and clap here. Thinking boom, boom, something like that. Get those claps. Okay, let's hurry up and just make new sounds for the second drop, and then we're done. I'd say this is a frickin' banger, considering every single sound is made with Serum 2. So let's just change this up a little. Let's get rid of the automation. variations for this guy. By the way, this is what I do for all of my songs I release too. I usually just start duplicating, making variations. Alright. Make a little outro, so end with a kick. Let's do one of the half hats crashes. Let's take it from the top. Yeah, I like it. So I'll give you guys the project file. I'll give you guys a preset pack. And yeah, as usual, I hope that was helpful. Hope you guys learned something. Let me know in the comments other videos you're trying to see. Peace.